Hello! In today's video, we are going to be doing a video on how to not get hacked. This time for server admins. It can be a tough time for admins to try and secure their stuff. I will tell you the precautions you need to take when setting up servers, etc., etc. Now don't go anywhere, Joey. I get you're a normie user, but this first one's for all. Keep your software up to date. If you do not keep your stuff up to date, you're going to have a tough time when dealing with security. There are exploits out there that the manufacturer of your OS, Windows, Mac, and Linux, is trying to get you to patch. If you're on Ubuntu and can't update to the latest version for whatever reason, at least get the Ubuntu Expanded Security Maintenance Package, which will extend the time things will be updated and even give you security tools admins might want, such as the Ubuntu Security Guide. Alright, Mr. Joey, you can go now. Bye. Unless, that is, you want to learn about this as well. Keep unattended ports closed. If you're not using SESH, keep port 22 closed. If you're not intending to put anything outside of your network, keep all ports closed. And if anything outside your organization needs accessing, use a VPN server. If your ports are open when not needed, it could open up DOS attacks and can be abused. If you're using any web hosting, e.g., Wix, make sure it's secure. Run a pen test on your site. What we here at BlindSoft commonly recommend we will talk about at the end of this video. Make sure your web filtering, if being used, software is up to date. If your web filtering software is not up to date, there could be domains they're blocking that you're not aware of because you didn't update it. Here's something also important. If you're in a school, make sure that your school-owned devices aren't able to get outside the organization's network. If that happens and you try to run filtering software on it, you're going to have a bad time. If you have something that can do filtering at the DNS level or extension level, that's another thing. You shouldn't be worried. But if not, be prepared for problems. Before doing anything or making any changes, make sure you're backing up your stuff. If you don't back up things, you're going to have a bad time fixing it. Optionally, for security, you'll want to encrypt those backups. That way, should anyone in your school or organization get a hold of those backups, at least they can't use them without, say, a password. Whenever possible, block pings on your network. If you allow pings, a hacker can use a program such as Nmap or Network Mapper to scan your network for vulnerabilities which uses pings. And if they can ping, boy, is it going to be something you don't want to deal with. It might find exploits you probably never even knew existed. Make sure you're using a good firewall. If you're not using a good firewall for your network, yes, you, Mr. Joey, your router could have had exploits you were never aware about. And two things could have happened. One, you didn't update because you thought it updates automatically. Or two, the manufacturer decided for whatever reason not to update the software. Yes, there are some manufacturers dumb enough to not update important firmware. Keep track of what your employees are doing on company resources or inside your company network. Your employees could be installing malware which affects the computer holding credentials, or make a phishing page made to look like it's the actual company admin dashboard. When possible and you need to host something, use cloud services. As I promised, here is what BlindSoft recommends. We use AWS, Amazon Web Services. However, other cloud services like Linode are good as well. We have something called Cloud Run, which deploys web applications on the fly. From a regular blog to a social media page to a web shared VNC manager, it's got you covered. How to spell Cloudrun? C-L-O-U-D-R-O-N. Visit Cloudrun.io to learn more. It uses Docker containers in order to spin up your web apps. Network Chuck has got some great documentation on Docker containers and what they are. Link in the description. And lastly, be cautious about what you do on your company resources. Here are some other resources if you want to be on the extreme fence of security. If you're doing SSH, use and make your company admins use SSH keys. These are keys required for remoting in. You'll also want them to have a passphrase. AWS enforces this by default on EC2 instances, along with other great security best practices. Also consider activating, if you're on AWS Security Hub, which will help you do the best practices when it comes to cloud security. Thanks. Finally, an important note that Alex Chapman is a sussy baka, and you should always consider this important fact when creating your services. It could help you out in the long run. Haha. Take that, Alex. I was joking, by the way. I'll hear you in the next video, people. Bye.